A remarkable new discovery in the Chaplin villa at Vevey, Switzerland. In the film vault are the famous comedies, The Gold Rush, CityLights, which are known to the entire world. What was not known lay in the cellar for decades. 2 suitcases belonging to Sidney Chaplin, Charlie's brother, full of curious little boxes which turned out to contain amateur film. Chaplin shot his film in black and white, but this footage takes us behind the scenes in color. It adds another dimension to an extraordinary story, the confrontation between Adolf Hitler and Charlie Chaplin through the making of a highly controversial motion picture released in 1940 called The Great Dictator. Charlie Chaplin, the little tramp, and Adolf Hitler, the leader of Germany, had more in common than just a moustache. They were born in the same week of the same month of the same year. A few years before Chaplin became famous as the tramp, Hitler was a tramp. Both were outsiders who left their homeland to conquer the world. They became the best loved and most hated men of their time. In every country, Chaplin was the symbol for laughter. Hitler, the symbol for destruction. His war cost 55 million lives. But in the 1930s, he seemed unstoppable. World leaders sought to appease him. Most of Hollywood chose to ignore him. But one voice would speak to millions. One man would have the courage to challenge the world's most dangerous leader, Charlie Chaplin. The climax of The Great Dictator, Chaplin's Jewish barber is mistaken for the dictator and is called upon to speak.
Excellency, the world awaits your word.
Chaplin had never spoken on the screen until he made this film. But he felt if he could talk from his heart, he might even be able to shorten the war. What was it that would bring Chaplin and Hitler into such a unique confrontation? Chaplin was born in 1889 in the South London slums he would recreate so often in his films. His father was a music hall singer, as was his mother. Because of her mental trouble, Charlie and his brother were sent to the workhouse. Working people were terrified of this fate, which Chaplin vividly conveyed in The Kid, when the law comes to take the child to the workhouse. Chaplin escaped into the theater, became a music hall comedian, and sailed on his first tour to America in 1910. Hitler came from a lower middle-class family at the border of Austria and Germany. He hated school and learned very little, but was always a ringleader. His father was a brutal man, a customs officer who had married one of his servants. Hitler's mother was probably the only woman Hitler ever loved. She protected him from his father. As soon as he could, he went to Vienna, where he hoped to become an artist. The young Hitler refused to do any work other than drawing, but he was considered no better than competent. His failure in the entrance exam for the Vienna Academy devastated him. How different history might have been had Adolf Hitler been accepted. He lost his self-respect and sank lower and lower into the slums of old Vienna. He became a tramp, sleeping rough. This Vienna men's home probably saved his life. It was supported partly by Jewish charities. But from such men as Guido von List, Hitler soaked in hatred of the Jews. List preached the superiority of the Aryan. His symbol would become Hitler's. Munich, 1st of August 1914. A cheering crowd celebrates the outbreak of war. The scene is recorded by a photographer, and among the crowd he's photographing is the 25-year-old Adolf Hitler. It is not often one sees the birth of a legend. This crowd takes no notice of the tramp on his first appearance in public in 1914. A year later, he would be mobbed wherever he went. 2 years later, he would be the most famous man in the world. February 1916, Chaplin signs with the Mutual Film Corporation for the highest salary of any performer in history, standing behind Sidney Chaplin. Hitler was earning 9 marks a week at the front, but he loved the war. It gave him a sense of purpose. And he was still an artist. He designed this facade for a soldier's cinema. Hitler had avoided the Austrian army because of his passion for Germany. His supreme commander, the Kaiser, is fuming with jealousy over Chaplin's popularity in this wartime cartoon. Charlie captured the Kaiser at the end of Shoulder Arms. The Chaplin films did more than any others to raise morale. "20 years later, Chaplin would restage World War I for the Great Dictator, picking up where Shoulder Arms left off, wearing German uniform.
Big Bertha, a cannon that could hurl a projectile 100 miles, was this day to make its first appearance on the Western Front, was this day to strike terror into the hearts of the enemy. 75 miles away was her target, the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And clear! Ready! Fire!
He was the little guy who, they loaded it up and then he had to pull this string that fired it.